Okay, I want you to try something. Don't shower tomorrow. Just skip it. One day. People do it all the time. Now, skip the next day too. Now make it a week. Now imagine everyone around you is doing the exact same thing. No soap, no deodorant, no mint toothpaste, no clean shirt waiting in the closet. Just your body, doing exactly what bodies do. Outside, every day. How long before life together becomes genuinely unbearable? Because for 99% of human history, this was just Tuesday. And yet, these people didn't fall apart. They formed communities, shared food, slept inches from each other, fell in love, kissed. So either ancient life was permanently, catastrophically disgusting, or they figured something out. And some of what they figured out quietly challenges a few things we assume about ourselves today. Here's where ancient humans started. Not water, not plants, not anything you'd expect. They rubbed oil onto their skin and wiped the dirt off with it. And if that sounds insane, it's actually one of the most chemically sensible things a human being has ever done. There's a principle, like dissolves like. Oil is attracted to other oil. The grime stuck to your skin, the fat, the blood residue, the sweat, it's all oil-based. Water rolls straight off it. But oil grabs it, pulls it loose. And when you wipe the oil away, everything it grabbed comes right off with it. The ancient Greeks and Romans turned this into a formal daily ritual. Athletes coated their whole body in olive oil before exercise, then scraped it off afterward with a curved metal tool called a strigil. Think of it as a razor, designed specifically for removing yesterday from your skin. Now here's the part I cannot get over. The scraped off oil, the dirty, sweaty, post-workout, came off an athlete's body oil. They collected it and sold it. As medicine, Roman entrepreneurial spirit, genuinely something else. And this wasn't just Rome. The Arctic, Africa, the Americas never spoke to each other. Same answer. When civilizations that never met solve the same problem the same way, that's the right answer. Right now, while you're watching this, trillions of microscopic organisms are living on your skin. Most of them are helping you, which sounds completely fake, until you realize they've been doing it for longer than our species has existed. Think about what that meant for a hunter 40,000 years ago. He cuts his hand preparing an animal. No antibiotics, no clinic, no disinfectant. His skin, and the microscopic world living on it, is the first line of defense. Often the only one. Your skin also makes a natural oil called sebum. Keeps moisture in, keeps harmful microbes out, and it constantly sheds its outermost layer of dead cells, taking whatever's stuck to the surface along for the ride. Without soap stripping all of this away, the whole system runs more completely, which means ancient humans weren't running on a broken system. They were running on a different one that kept large human communities functional enough to sustain themselves, long before soap existed. 98% of human history without modern soap. The first soap recipe ever discovered was written before paper existed. Before ancient Greece, before Rome, before almost everything most people picture when they think ancient history. Imagine the person who wrote it, sitting somewhere in what is now Iraq, pressing a reed stylus into wet clay, carefully, scratching out something they didn't want to forget. Animal fat, wood ash, mix them, use for washing. That's it, the whole recipe. And here's the strangest part. One of the most important discoveries in human history has no inventor, no statue, no name, not even a story. Some human, somewhere, accidentally knocked ash into animal fat and noticed something different, picked it up, rubbed it between their fingers, looked at their hands, and changed history. What they'd stumbled onto, ash and fat reacting together to create a substance that could grab oil and water at the same time. Humans had accidentally invented soap. Within a few thousand years, soap had spread from Mesopotamia across Egypt, Rome, and much of Europe. People cleaned with it, styled their hair with it, built businesses around it, But here's what almost nobody mentions. Once soap existed, most people still didn't use it. Expensive, hard to get, unevenly made. For most of human history, most people cleaned themselves without soap. Oil handled the skin. Hair was a different problem. Your scalp makes the same oil we talked about. Protective, functional, but it accumulates. Creates warm conditions certain bacteria find very welcoming. 2 weeks without washing your hair. You know what I mean. First, just combing. Bone combs, shell combs, ivory. Documented from at least 5,000 years ago across multiple continents. Same reason it feels good when someone runs their hands through your hair. Wired in. Second, and this one genuinely amazed me, certain plants produce natural compounds that foam when crushed with water. Real foam. From a plant you found on the ground. And here's the uncomfortable part. These plant lathers are gentler than modern shampoo. In a strange way, modern hair care may have solved a problem ancient people never actually created. Now, teeth. This is where ancient humans genuinely surprised me. Bacteria in your mouth form a film. They eat what you eat, produce acid. That acid dissolves enamel. Ancient humans had no toothbrush. But imagine explaining toothpaste to someone 5,000 years ago, and then discovering they already had one growing outside. The World Health Organization formally recognized chew sticks as an effective oral hygiene tool. Not folk medicine. An effective tool. That worked for thousands of years before your dentist existed. Imagine skin covered in animal fat from a hunt. Smoke from last night's fire still sitting in your hair. Sweat from walking 10 miles. With dust glued to all of it. Then, sleeping next to 20 other people in an enclosed space, ancient dirt wasn't office dirt. It was life, stuck to your body. And here's the thing about that. You couldn't just ignore it, because the people around you couldn't ignore it either. You've been in that elevator. You know that feeling, the careful, polite, collective pretending. That behavior is not modern. It is ancient. In ancient communities, your cleanliness wasn't just personal comfort. It told people something about you, the same way it still does, which is why getting clean was a community event. Roman public baths held thousands at once. Hot rooms, warm rooms, cool pools, libraries, exercise areas, essentially free. Senator and street vendor. Same warm water. Cleanliness in Rome wasn't a luxury. It was the expectation. For everyone. In Rome, showing up dirty wasn't just unpleasant, it told people something about you, the same way it still does. The Islamic hammam took this further. Domed ceilings, marble, filtered light. Designed not just to work, but to feel like a reward. Because a habit that feels good is a habit that sticks. The ancient hygiene practice that modern people would look at and immediately, firmly say, no, human waste. No, worse, urine. Ancient Romans used collected urine, aged, fermented urine, as a cleaning agent. For laundry, for whitening teeth, for treating leather. And it worked, because urine contains ammonia. Ammonia is alkaline. Alkaline substances break down grease and stains the same way soap does. In Rome, urine collection was organized enough that public containers sat on street corners for people to contribute. Laundry workers paid for it. Emperor Vespasian eventually taxed the trade. When challenged about taxing something so undignified, he reportedly held up a gold coin and said, "Money doesn't smell." And modern cleaning products contain ammonia. Right now, in your home, the chemistry that Roman laundry worker used on street corners in 79 AD is the same chemistry under your kitchen sink. Oil cleaned the skin. Plants cleaned the hair. A tree handled the teeth. Urine cleaned the laundry. But there is one more, the strangest of all. It wasn't a substance. It wasn't a tool. It wasn't chemistry. It wasn't even an invention. It was alive. The most sophisticated hygiene technology available to a prehistoric human was another prehistoric human. For most of human prehistory, the most important hygiene tool in existence was another person. Someone who could see your back, check your scalp, Reach the places you couldn't reach. Remove what you couldn't remove alone. We call it social grooming, and every primate on Earth still does it. Among chimpanzees and bonobos, grooming takes up hours of every day. And it's not primarily about hygiene, it's about trust, about relationship, about saying, I see you, I'll take care of you, you belong here. Early human groups almost certainly did the same. Not because someone told them to, because the group that took care of each other stayed healthier, fewer parasites, fewer infections, longer lives, and something else happened in that process, something that had nothing to do with cleanliness. Think about the last time someone ran their hands through your hair, or helped you check something you couldn't see yourself, or noticed something was wrong before you did. That feeling, specific, quiet, almost inexplicable, is 50,000 years old, sitting inside your nervous system, waiting to be activated. Here's what all of this tells us. Ancient humans weren't passive, they scraped skin with oil. And it worked. Washed hair with plant lather, and it worked. Cleaned teeth with medicated twigs that held up in multiple studies. Built communal spaces serving public health we didn't fully understand again until the 1800s. Used each other. The oldest health technology on this planet. They figured it out. Every time. Which means the strange thing isn't that ancient humans went without showers. The strange thing is they didn't need them nearly as much as we imagine. Is modern hygiene better? Yes, genuinely. The data shows it in disease rates, dental health, life expectancy, but the gap isn't between nothing and something. It's the gap between one set of real solutions and a better set. The problem was always the same. The biggest mistake modern people make is assuming they're fundamentally different from ancient humans. The evidence says otherwise. You still worry about how you smell before you meet someone important. You clean yourself more carefully before a first date than before a regular Tuesday. You judge health through appearance. You use cleanliness as a social signal, the same way every human has since before we had a word for it. The products changed. The pipes changed. The labels changed. But the brain underneath never got the memo. That brain sat beside a fire 30,000 years ago and wondered, do I smell okay? So here's a question. Which one of these ancient methods would you actually try? The oil, the chew stick, the plant shampoo? Or are you drawing the line at Roman laundry? The next time you brush your teeth, wash your hair, or check yourself in the mirror before you walk out the door, you're not doing a chore. You're continuing one of the oldest rituals on this planet. Not because culture started it, because evolution did. And you've been running that software ever since.